Hey guys, it's Di from BeingMommywithStyle, and today is another chatty mommy topic video for you guys today. And this is a video that was actually requested to do a while back, and it's been on my list of videos to do, and I hadn't had a chance to get to it. And so I thought I would talk about it today. So I was requested after all the car stuff happened, which if you've been on my channel for a while, you know what I'm referring to, but I'm referring to the car crashing into the back of our house and going into our house and the subsequent dealing with all that went with that. I was requested after, a couple weeks afterwards, a few people were saying like, you seem so positive and you're kind of just rolling with it. And one of the requests was, can you do a video on staying positive? And in particular, staying positive or being optimist in tough times. So I wanted to do that video today and talk a little bit about it. And of course, everyone is going to handle things very, very differently. I mean, you don't know how you're gonna handle a situation like that till you're in it. I mean, I would have no clue how I was gonna handle it until I was in the situation. And I think that goes with a lot of like big, especially unexpected situations. And you don't know how you're gonna react and what it's gonna be like to deal with it until you're in the situation. I do like to think of myself as an optimist. I try to, look on the glasses half full side of things. And that being said, even if you're an optimist and even if you're generally a happy bubble person, that doesn't mean that you don't get sad. It doesn't mean that you don't have tough times or it's tough for you to work through things sometimes. It just means, like, on a general whole, you look to the brighter side of things and you try not to let those negative things get you down. So that's what I want to talk about today. And I've mentioned it in other videos, and we have had a lot of things going on in the background, and I think I've done a pretty good job of, one, just overall in my general life, like not letting them get me down. But we have had some incredibly tough situations going on that I'm not going to be talking about in this video, simply because, like I've mentioned before, it's either not my story to tell, or it's just not appropriate for me to discuss, or just it's not something I'm wanting to share at this time. But we have had some, beyond the car situation, difficult situations, and some of them have been a lot more trying than others. Some of them have been quite frankly like devastating, and so it really does be one of those things at the end of the day that you just have to deal with it in your own way. And this is how I deal with things, is what I wanted to talk about in this video. And so it really depends on your personality type. I mean, not everyone is going to be able to do this. But like all those cliche sayings that people do, like, I don't know, there'll be a rainbow at the end of there'll be a sunshine at the end of the rainbow, or sunny days are ahead, and I can't think of anything right now, but all those things that, are kind of cliche to be said. I mean, they really are like true, and like things that come across my mind whenever I am in a tough situation. And of course, like right after something happens, or right when you're first dealing with something, I think you go through the normal range of emotions that anyone would, shock, fear, frustration, anger, all those things. Like, even if you're an optimist, you feel all those things. I think the difference is when you come out on the other end and when you're dealing with it, then what do you do? So I try not to dwell on the negatives. I mean, I think that's really the first thing that an optimist, or what I tend to do when I'm in tough situations, is you don't sit there and dwell on, oh, woe is me, I can't believe this and I can't believe that. And even if you have those thoughts cross your mind, it's not what you focus on. So we'll just use the car example because you guys all know about that, and it's something that happened recently, and it's kind of a good example. So in the instance of the car, I mean, obviously we were displaced for a month, and you could really get dwelled down, or like it could really just bury you. Sense of things are being out of your control, and you are not in control of what's going on to you. A lot of the things that have happened to us recently have happened because of other people's bad decisions. And so that's extremely frustrating and upsetting when it's other people making bad decisions. Like, you're just like basically in the line of fire, literally. The house is in the line of fire from other people's decisions, and then it affects you negatively. And it is, tough in those types of situations when it's just happening. But I think the way I was able to, after the car situation, I mean, obviously we had help. It always helps when you have help. And depending on the type of situation they're in, that can be a support structure that you have. It can be, you know, some sort of support system, or in our instance, obviously it was a large part knowing that the insurance was going to be there and that we weren't going to have this massive 6-figure financial burden on top of us, because in that situation, you know, like, you basically have no house, nowhere to live, and they're taking care of all of those types of things. They made sure we had a place to live immediately when we couldn't live in our house, and then now obviously we're in the process of fixing our house. So I tried to, after I got over the initial shock, and the shock I would say lasted for like a good week. I think if you watch the videos like immediately that week afterwards, I think I was still pretty much in a little bit of shock. I mean, cycling through other emotions, but a little bit of shock, because it's a shocking thing to just be jarred out of your regular life by something like that. But then you really look forward to the positives, and like in that situation, obviously, thank God no one was hurt, and you focus on, you know, the car didn't go into the playroom, the kids were okay, we were okay, the driver was okay, there wasn't anyone hurt, we didn't see any like horrific injuries or anything like that. I mean, all of those good, better sides, I guess you don't want to say good, but all those better sides of the scenario is really what you start to latch on to. And then after you start focusing on the positives, or the not quite as bad sides to the situation, then I really start to turn my focus to looking forwards. And what do I have to do to move forwards? What do I have to do to better myself, to move on and deal with whatever the situation is, whether it's that or something else? What do I have to do to deal with the situation and be able to keep moving forwards? And I think that driving focus, that need to always be moving forwards, that's always been with me, whether good situation, bad situation. And that, I think, is really kind of what sums up being an optimist, is you're always looking towards the future and keeping that forward progression. And okay, XYZ happened, it was good or it was bad or it was neutral. What do I have to do to keep myself moving forwards and headed the direction that I want to go? Obviously, to varying degrees, there's some things that are a lot more deeply ingrained in your life, that are life-altering events. With something like the car, you're coming back from that, and you know, you're gonna hit a point where your life just went ajar for a little bit, and then you're gonna get back to a point where, you know, you're just living your life again. There's other life events that happen, and it utterly changes the course of your life, basically. Those are a little bit tougher. And I can't even really get into that right now because it's a little too raw. But there's still ways to be positive in light of those extremely negative situations. Even when it's that life-altering, you will never look at that particular situation or event or whatever it is, again, the same, if something that's life-altering in a negative way. Still, I find myself turning to, okay, how can I deal with this? How can I move forwards? And I think that's really kind of the big trait of being an optimist, of what keeps me going and what allows me to keep moving forwards in more of a positive, bubbly mindset that you guys are used to seeing, and not getting dwelled down in those negatives. So hopefully that answers you guys' question. I could talk about it a little bit more if you guys are wanting in future videos, but that's kind of my thoughts on it for today, and hopefully it makes sense. So try not to be too vague. I mean, obviously with the car situation hitting the house, it's a specific that I can use, and you guys kind of got to see the ups and downs to do with all of that. But I do hope that maybe something in this video is helpful. If you're going through a tough time in your life, just know that you're not alone. I posted something on my Facebook, my YouTube Facebook, that I'm friends with like other YouTubers and viewers and things like that the other day, and it really kind of resonated with me at the time, and I think it really kind of sums it up. Is, you know, everyone you meet is going through a battle that you know nothing about, so just be kind always. And it really resonated with me. It really was true. I should post it on Instagram as well. Maybe I'll post it the same day that I post this video, actually. That would be a good combination. There's so many things in life that happen that are just either out of your control or unexpected, or they just happen, that really, I mean, everyone you meet is really at a different stage in their life. They're all working through all these different things. Some of them maybe they can talk about, some of them maybe they can't. Some of them maybe they're just not literally able to. You know, there's a whole range of things, and I, more than ever, completely empathize with that. It's very tough, but you have to keep moving forwards. You have to keep living your life as much as you possibly can, and try not to let it just pull you down and drag you down. That being said, it doesn't mean that you won't cry. It doesn't mean that you won't be upset. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have tough days, but you have to keep going. You have to keep going. So that's my words of advice for today. I hope it helps somewhat. Let me know if you have any questions down below. I'm also going to post in the comments. Please post your positive cliche piece of advice in the comments below, because I couldn't think of all those cliche things. Post your favorite cliche phrase for positivity in the comments below, because I'd like to see all those, and I think it'd be great just to have those all grouped in one spot. So that is it for today, and thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.